Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, how are you today? Okay, you can hear me. That's good. I just wanted to make sure that my audio levels were working well and that everyone can see me. Let me put on the chat just in case I get some people who want to participate in the discussion today. So I received a couple messages saying, "Hey, when are you going to be back on camera?" So here I am, back on camera. I do a lot of audios. But for some reason I can't get the chat up, so bear with me. I do a lot of audios almost daily. But you know what? I'm like, I'm gonna do this on screen today. And of course I don't have a studio. I don't have a professional crew helping me with any of this. So I'm all on my own here. Okay, so it looks like everything's in working order. If I don't get to your chats, just forgive me because I'm going to be reading from some notes. So Claude just filed a motion. It's a joke. Claude didn't really file a motion. Claude is a robot. Robots don't file motions. People file motions. So basically what I want to do is talk about USA v. Heppner. So on February 10th, Judge Jed Rakoff of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York ruled in United States v. Heppner that documents and conversations generated through a public AI platform, Anthropic's Claude, are not protected by attorney-client privilege or the work product doctrine. The court determined that inputting confidential information into a public AI tool breaks confidentiality, making the output discoverable by the government in legal proceedings. This ruling serves as a warning that independent, unsupervised use of public AI tools to analyze legal exposure can create discoverable material in litigation, including criminal cases, civil disputes, and regulatory inquiries. The court noted that while this applies to consumer AI, the use of secure enterprise AI tools, which may have stricter confidentiality agreements, could potentially lead to a different analysis. Okay, so I just have some critically thinking questions that center around critical thought. So before we even had AI tools to help us learn about case law and things like that. Before we had any of that, we had a website called Quora. That's Quora. I've gone to Quora before. We also have Reddit. Reddit is also a pretty good source of case law, believe it or not. So does that mean that every single person who has ever gone to Quora or Reddit is suddenly has suddenly just disposed of their Fifth Amendment right? And you know what your Fifth Amendment right is, right? So I think it's the right not to incriminate yourself. Okay, thank you for that, JP. So I guess the cleaning was audible in the background. So JP was vacuuming in our music room, which is a couple rooms over, and I guess you can hear it through the microphone. So I will not take a lot of time with this. I'm actually running this feed later in the afternoon than I normally would. But I wanted to get this out here. So whatever happened to individuals who would go to the public library and research case law if they found that they, say, needed to, maybe they were in a car accident and they needed to make sure that their insurance companies sued the other party's insurance company correctly, so they would go to the library and study case law, just for some innocuous, maybe civil issues. What about what about going to the website for, like, say a website like the EEOC, in case you think that that you've been fired unlawfully or terminated unlawfully, and you're just researching information about discrimination rights or retaliation rights. Does that mean that you've suddenly waived your Fifth Amendment right, which is the right not to incriminate yourself, from what I understand? So this really needs a lot of context. This case really needs context, in my opinion. So let's look at the context, okay? So the Heppner story is case specific. Bradley Heppner, the former CEO and board chairman of Beneficient, which is the name of a company, capital B, Beneficient, and former chairman of GWG Holdings, was charged in November of 2025 with orchestrating a fraudulent scheme resulting in over $1 billion in losses to investors. So there's your context. Are you the person who is researching case law because maybe you're in a probate case and you're not sure if you're adopted and you want to find out what equitable adoption means? Does that suddenly mean that you have waived your credibility? No, because you're not the one that's being scrutinized. You're not the one being charged for whatever it is that you might be in court for, right? So for instance, with this USA v. Heppner case, the guy was engaged in security fraud, wire fraud. He was, sorry, I lost my notes. He was charged with falsification of records to enrich himself. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars. And of course, if he is going to Claude, which is an AI tool, to research, what his rights might be, it makes it a little bit different than if you're just like a regular person who is maybe going to civil court because you need to sue your neighbor or something. I mean, this for like a couple $1,000s, this is nothing like that. And I think what's happening is this story is more about like the response from social media than it is about the story itself. So social media is just going apeshit over this and freaking out about the fact that suddenly this story has turned into AI has more rights than human beings. And I think that's what they want, of course. But I think that we have to look at context, like with everything. So my experience with AI tools in researching case law is this, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Go to AI, research case law, and it gives you a link to various attorney websites. I've even called those law firms that AI took me to. All right. And I've had free consultations that are private consultations to learn about this specific type of law. So most of my research with, on AI or on the internet in general has led me to speaking to an actual human being. And those human beings are, they're like, look, this is just for, you get your 30-minute consultation for free. We're not advising you. We're just telling you how the law works. And we're telling you, the value of your position or whatever, in our opinion. What happened? Why am I off screen? There. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Every time I go, I'm not kidding. Every time I go live, something happens. So we're going to really try to make this quick before something else happens. Okay. So when you do go online, whether you just
cut out.
I cut out.
Yeah, let me check again.
So I may have cut out on the stream, but it will probably pick up when right. So it'll probably pick up when I upload this. So I'm just going to continue. So when I do go to
You're good.
Thank you. So when I do go to Google to research something, or when I go to, when I use a tool to research something, it always takes me to Like, it'll take me to a government site that will list out the law. It'll take me to a court's website even. It'll take me to a law firm's website that has, some interest in this, right? So in whatever it is that I'm researching. So I think people are getting really, really upset by this ruling, and they're not taking everything into context. Okay, so most of the motions that non-attorneys might file are strictly based on that actual case law, not on what a robot tells you to write. And I'd like to remind people that there was a time when you could just go to your public library, open up some law books, and research it, for a few hours on your own as a regular human being. Like, you don't have to have a law degree to do that. You still have the right to research things on your own. You can even file, something on your own. I mean, this I think what's happening here is people are just getting really freaked out about AI. They're taking over like human rights and constitutional protections. So if Heppner handed the documents over to his attorney, then why was he not covered under attorney-client privilege? If the attorneys had done the exact same research on his case, they would have had the guardrail in place, and the court would not have been allowed to suspend his Fifth Amendment rights. So because he happened to ask a few questions in AI Claude, suddenly his constitutional right is completely suspended. Come on, this is ridiculous. So your takeaway is that attorney-client privilege feels kind of like voodoo and magic. That's the language that JP actually used earlier this morning when I was telling him about this ruling. He's like, what is this, some sort of voodoo magic where it's not based in any kind of real strategy or formula? It's based entirely on the priesthood of the legal industry, So again, I don't even know why I'm wasting my time talking about this, because we all know that lawyers are, if you read my piece, the whole legal industry is becoming obsolete anyway. And if you really want to talk about privilege and you really want to talk about confidentiality, what if JP brought up something else earlier too? What about HIPAA? It's sanctioned by law in Congress that third parties cannot violate a patient's confidentiality. So it feels like the ruling is full of holes. It feels very biased. It feels, what it feels like? It feels like fear. It feels like this Judge Rakoff of the Southern District Court of New York that made this ruling. It feels like he's scared because he knows that 53% of small law firms in the United States are already using AI. And he knows that more and more people are doing the equivalent of going to the law library, but instead of it being a law library, they're going to use AI tools, or they're going to websites and they're researching it that way. So it feels a little over the top. Let's see. So, hey, Sam, I'm actually reading your comments on from another source, so that I have a lot of stuff going on my screen, which you guys don't see in the background. So, hey, everyone, your channel. Okay, so it looks like this guy um, is a troll. So, what's the number one rule here on this platform? Trolls will be ignored. So sorry about that. I won't be responding to you. Okay. So let's see. So is Claude suddenly, if by using Claude, has he suddenly suspended his constitutional rights? I don't think so. So let's see. If the attorneys had done the exact same thing, using the same research on his case, they would have had the guardrail in place, and the court would not have been allowed to suspend his Fifth Amendment right. But because he happened to ask a few questions in Claude, suddenly his rights were suspended. Come on. So this privilege, this attorney-client privilege, feels a little like voodoo, a little like magic, and it feels a little obsolete. I mean, attorneys are obsolete anyway. And we knew, if you would have read my previous piece in Substack, the reason that the whole industry itself is becoming more and more obsolete is because of the lack of ethics and the lack of morality. When you start out with something like that, it's bound to fail, right? So just add to that the fact that individuals are researching on their own and filing motions and filing cases without the need of an attorney. It's making the whole industry, including judges, it's making them very nervous. So we already talked about how if you correlate this with HIPAA, there's violations that take place if the HIPAA law is violated. So violations against the violator. So there's you can't do that. So switching gears a little bit, the founder of OnlyFans died. I don't know if he died suddenly, but he died recently, and he died very young at age 43. So his name is Leonid Radvinsky, and he was the Ukrainian-born American entrepreneur who purchased OnlyFans in 2018. He was very secretive with a long history in the adult entertainment industry. So before OnlyFans, he operated Cybertania, which was a site offering passwords for porn, and founded the cam site My Free Cams. No. No. His career involved murky ventures, including legal settlements with Microsoft and Amazon over spam campaigns. So he died recently at age 43. He capitalized on the desperation of the impoverished, taking 20% of their pay, making $1.9 million per day, while OnlyFans users sold their bodies online for profit. So he took 20% of every transaction, every video, every message, every tip, while creators fought algorithms and chargebacks and deplatforming threats just to make rent. Not to mention, it feels like some sort of violation of maybe like labor law or something. So anyway, he sat at the top collecting a cut of their bodies, and everyone called him a tech founder. But the man wasn't a tech founder, and he wasn't a successful middleman, as the media would have you believe. He was actually just a pimp. He was a pimp. That's it. So why is OnlyFans still a thing? Can we please get rid of it now that the founder is dead? It was profitable from day one. Now, here's the real story, I think. No venture capitalist money, no IPO, because when your business model is taking a fifth of what someone earns from their own skin, you don't need investors. You need desperation. That's what you need. You capitalize on desperation and a person willing to do anything just to be able to make the rent, just to be able to put food on the table. This is where we are now as a society. This is what it's come down to, right? That you can make a fifth of your own profit based on someone else's desperation. He had $3 billion, and yet, for some reason, he still couldn't beat cancer. You think he died of cancer? Or maybe something else. I don't know. I can't imagine he was a very nice guy. He doesn't seem like like the kind of guy you would really want to like hang out with, right? So what exactly are we all racing toward with this type of lifestyle when we're making money off of exploiting ourselves and making money off of demoralizing ourselves, and yet most of that profit goes to someone else. So I think this, again, it transitions into a larger conversation. For the first time in my life, I attended sort of an online group session. It's for individuals who have experienced trauma in their childhood, and a lot of things that have just come to light in my life explain a lot of the unresolved trauma that I didn't even realize I had. But now that I go back and look at some behavior from, family of origin and dysfunctional family systems, I realized, oh, wow, I have been living my life sort of in a place of trauma for the majority of my life. And so this platform exists to sort of process that. It's just a place to process. Um, and it felt really good. It felt really good to process the truth. It felt really good to share my story a little bit without, you know, getting too deep into it. Although I think I may have like traumatized the poor moderator because my story is very traumatizing and very unique. Most people who go no contact with their family don't have my story. So it's incredibly strange to be out here in the wilderness. So I feel that we need more of that and less of exploiting your body and less exploitation for profit. Less discussion around the rights of scumbags like attorneys who have no morals and have no ethics. Like, why are we even having discussions about this USA v. Heppner ruling when it feels like a desperate attempt to stay relevant when each and every day the corporate system is becoming more and more irrelevant. It's almost becoming laughable. It's a joke now. Um, you've got people who are in the corporate sector who have been out of work for 2 years that have 30-year careers and they can't break back into it, and they're starting to write jokes about it. They're putting, the fake LinkedIn colors on their profile pictures. Hashtag, will do anything for work. I mean, it's we're in desperate times now. So I think we should be talking more about solutions, which is what I think that this platform that I went to today and listened to what some of the people were saying. I think that they're looking for, they're reaching out to try to find solutions to these problems and to focus on uh, desperation is not really the right kind of solution. Um, so, and trolls will be ignored. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this little brief commentary. Some of you have reached out and said, you took down a lot of your stuff. Yeah, I did because I'm individuating and I'm processing what it means to be in ear of the horsey. And I'm having fun and uh, just really I'm having a lot more fun, I think, writing about some of the things I'm discovering, you know, in the world. For instance, the stuff I've written about recently about AI and how it's just not again, I keep repeating myself. It's not at scale. It's not what you think it is. And I think that in a year or so, or at least I even think that by July, there's going to be a rude awakening around that. So we'll see what happens. But we're doing good. We're doing okay. Weather's getting warmer. We're going to be spending more time at the beach. I was just talking to a friend of mine today. She said one of the best ways to watch a sunset in the Gulf Coast is to watch it in the water. And she was mentioning a couple of beaches, and we're just like a 5-minute drive or maybe a 15-minute walk from beaches where we can do that. So it's like, I'm having it's a good life, right? So um, I think that a lot of the stuff that we're hearing that is very sobering. I know that there's a couple of really sobering stories out there about the rise of the popularity of self-imposed euthanasia. And I'm not talking suicide. I'm talking about assisted suicide in like the medical industry. There was a story about, I believe, a girl in, was it Portugal? I don't know the story. Um, uh, I don't know the details of it. I'm probably getting it wrong, but there was some abuse, and there was, she was ripped away from her family, and she was put into some kind of facility that she should have never been in. And then there was abuse, and she tried to commit suicide after that abuse, and then she became permanently like a permanent quadriplegic because of that attempted suicide. And then she opted for euthanasia, and now she's dead. like, what is going on here? Like, don't you feel that that is like that's the wrong path? That feels like the wrong path. Like, where's her community? Where's her support network? I feel bad. Maybe had she known about the super supportive and safe space that I was in today, maybe it would have been a different outcome for her. I just I feel that we really need to start taking care of each other, right? And I think that there are strong communities and strong influencers out there that uh, really want that for us. Um, let's see here. I think I have one more thing I want to talk about. So no, I think that's it. I think that's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to pop in here. It's been a while since I've been on camera. Um, and we've got stuff going on. It's springtime, in the Gulf Coast. It's always fun. So yeah, I guess that's it. Again, the USA v. Heppner ruling in February of 2026. Don't get excited about it. The guy had been charged with securities fraud. He basically defrauded over $1 billion out of his investors. Totally different story than you just going and researching case law on a website, or the equivalent of going to the library and opening up a library book or a law book in the library. Come on, don't get all freaked out and afraid over this, this story that has you need to bring some context into it, right? And then, of course, the death of the OnlyFans founder, no love lost. I mean, I really hope that OnlyFans also dies. I think it's one of the worst things to ever happen. And these people that tell you demoralizing yourself for money is a good thing. No, it's not. It's never good. That's not what you are here for. You are not here to demoralize yourself. You are here to uh, individuate. You're seeking wholeness. And there is a good book that I recommend. I was reading about it. It's written by a guy by the name of Rick Rubin. I believe that's his name. And he um, he wrote The Creative Act. The Creative Act, a way of being. And I'm still learning that. And I think JP is further along than I am. He's really creative and really talented. But it's called The Creative Act, a way of being. And this is not the same as creating, AI movies based on sentimental stories that you read. I mean, sure, you can do that. But this is something real. This is something deeper. And I think that we're moving into that territory now that capitalism has kind of run its course, right? That's what it looks like anyway. And I'm happy about that. And it's very scary. Don't get me wrong, it's very scary. A lot of people, thousands of people, and people that we are connected to and friends with have been counting on and relying on capitalism their entire careers and are suddenly finding themselves without it. That's a very scary place to be, but it's also very liberating. So we just have to uh, take it on the chin, get knocked down, and get up again, right? We have to, like the song says. So, okay, guys, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you at least enjoyed it. We will, I'm sure JP and I will be doing a pod together or a talk together very soon, because I know you guys like it when he's part of the conversations. So, bye. Thanks.
You can help us continue our work by becoming a patron at patreon.com/bookofhours, or leave us a one-time donation at paypal.me/bookofhours. Or you can use Cash App. Thank you.